Frauen Bundesliga FC Köln gegen den 1. FC Nürnberg. Knapp 10 Minuten sind es noch bis Abpfiff. Und hier nochmal der Hinweis, gleich starten wir in die Aufstellung vom FC. Dann haltet bitte die Startaufstellung bereit, um die Nachnamen zu rufen. Die gibt es digital aufs Handy, über unsere Social Media Kanäle oder über unsere Website. Und dann rufe ich die Vornamen und ihr gleich die Nachnamen. Liebe FC-Fans, kommen Sie in die Mannschaftsaufstellung unseres ersten Fußballclub Köln. Im Tor für uns mit der Nummer 34 Irina, mit der Nummer 4 Sarah, mit der Nummer 6 Sandra, mit der Nummer 7 Annalena, mit der Nummer 8 Laura, unsere Nummer 11 Pauline, mit der Nummer 21 Anna, mit der Nummer 25 Laura, unsere Nummer 26 Martina, Nummer 27 Laura und unsere Kapitänin mit der Nummer 33 Marina. An der Seite unserer Mädels unsere Cheftrainerin Britta Carlsson. Und jetzt, liebe FC-Fans, möchte ich noch auf ein wichtiges Thema aufmerksam machen. Der Pinktober steht für ein weltweit sehr wichtiges Thema, und zwar für den weltweiten Brustkrebsmonat, der auf die Bedeutung von Vorsorgeuntersuchungen und die Früherkennung von Brustkrebs hinweisen soll. Das internationale Symbol dafür, das habt ihr sicher schon mal gesehen, das ist die pinke Schleife. Ich trage sie auch gerade und unsere Mädels werden sie auch gleich zeigen. Wir wollen gemeinsam mit dem 1. FC Nürnberg und dem 1. FC Köln, dem DFB und auch die Schiedsrichterin heute haben wir uns dazu entschlossen, die pinken Schleifen auf dem Platz zu tragen, damit einzulaufen und gemeinsam eine Botschaft nach außen zu tragen. Achtet auf euch und auf eure Mitmenschen, denn Vorsorge kann Leben retten. Wer sich dazu noch näher informieren möchte, ihr findet die Infos in der Vorberichterstattung auf fc.de oder auch unter pinkribbon-deutschland.de. Und damit, liebe FC-Fans, ist es jetzt an der Zeit, euch von euren Plätzen zu erheben für unsere Hymne des ersten Fußballclub Köln.
Voll, echt, Pech und Gauk. Überall, jeden Fans vom FC Köln.
Traditionally known for its carnival costume season, tonight it is Halloween in the Cathedral City. A ghoulish game in store as we kick things off on Matchday 8 with a clash of two teams scrapping for survival. It's Köln against Nürnberg at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion, but who can strike more relegation fears into their opponents? James Thorogood on the mic for this Friday night spectacle in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Being treated to the end of the Köln Club and Wir stehen zu dir. We stand by you. To the tune of Loch Lomond, a song that will be familiar to those from the Scottish Isles. But here in Germany, we are back from the international break and straight into the thick of things. Tonight marks the start of 11 straight days of action from Germany's top flight, a feast of Frauen Bundesliga football in store. And the 25-26 season continues to take shape. Tonight, our focus on the dance with the motion. Köln and newly promoted Nürnberg were both pegged as pre-season relegation candidates. 8 matches into the campaign, tonight's hosts sit in 10th, 2 points behind our visitors. And despite contrasting results, both sides went into the international break feeling positive. Köln were thrashed 5-1 by league leaders Bayern, but held their own for the whole first half, buoyed by an early goal from in-form summer signing Sandra Maria Jessen. And it was a result that didn't reflect a committed and courageous performance from Britta Carlsen's side, which, should they manage to reproduce tonight, would stand them in great stead for a return to winning ways. Nürnberg will have other ideas though, as they look to build on their best ever start to a Frauen Bundesliga season, one that has sent records tumbling. 9 points from 7 games is a new club record. 4 games unbeaten is a new club record. 2 consecutive victories, a new club record. But can Thomas Orsendorp's charges pick up where they left off? Or will Köln seize the chance to leapfrog their opponents in the standings? It's never a bad time for a bit of confetti. But you'll notice the pink ribbons on the shirts of the players. Part of both teams wanting to give a nod to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And the Franz-Kremer-Stadion, never far removed from a party atmosphere, is it? But then again, that's what the Cathedral City of Cologne is all about. Sandra Maria Jessen has really made herself a fan favourite in a short space of time. Top scorer this season with 4 goals, including the opener against Bayern, which came early. Unfortunately, it then sparked the wrath of the 3-time defending champions. Viva Colonia, indeed. A look at the team news, with Köln head coach Britta Carlsen making 3 changes to the side that started that 5-1 loss to Bayern. Laura Dornhauser slots into the back line, while Martina Wiankowska is preferred to fellow Pole Adriana Aczynska in midfield. The big news, though, sees former Germany international Paulina Bremer, signed from Brighton in the summer, make her first start for Köln. A Frauen Bundesliga champion with Wolfsburg. Bremer says the home side tonight have to perform to their best, with a clear goal to keep all 3 points here in the Cathedral City. And now, as part of Pinktober, The pink ribbons being worn by both sets of players, the staff and referees, raising awareness of the importance of early detection. A valuable message that can save lives. As for the visitors, following back-to-back wins before the international break, Thomas Oostendorp makes just one change to his first 11. Clara Fröhlich drops to the benches. Beatrix Föders makes her return from a knee knock to partner Olivia Vosch, who was one of 7 Nürnberg players on international duty. Larissa Rusek, Laura Miller, Selma Letina, Aneta Polaskova, Sanja Horman and top scorer Natasha Line were the others. Line has 3 goals to her name already this season. Can she add to that tally tonight? Köln looking to end Nürnberg's 4-game unbeaten streak. Maybe put a bit of fright into their opponents on Halloween night. There's double toil and trouble. Fires burn, and tonight the cauldron that is the Franz-Kremer Stadion bubbles with anticipation. Well, the Cathedral City, the party atmosphere it generally generates. Punctuality isn't always its best quality, but we are ready to get the action underway. Trick or treat as we raise the curtain on Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga Matchday 8 in the Cathedral City. Normally known for its carnival costume season, tonight it is Halloween as Köln and Nürnberg look to give each other a Friday night fright under the floodlights. This would be billed as a relegation 6-pointer even at the early stage of this season. But it also kicks off 11 straight days of Frauen Bundesliga action, a feast of football to look forward to. James Thorogood, your match commentator. Delighted to have the pleasure of your company. Both sides looking for an engaging, an energetic opening. Never easy after an international break. Players arriving back from international duty late. Training sessions, as a result, a little bit shorter when it comes to pre-match preparations, but as a result, all the more intense as well. Nürnberg, the castle city. Köln, the cathedral city. About a 4-hour trip north from Nürnberg, but the travelling fans making themselves heard early. Of course, it might be Halloween tonight, but we are just 11 days removed from the start of the carnival season here in Cologne. A citywide street party that goes all the way through to February, with various events through the winter months. Some rather chilly temperatures when you're donning some of the costumes that are traditional at that time of year. Tonight a chance to break out the costume box for the first time this season. A warm-up act for the carnival season to come. Grete Carlsen, the Köln head coach, has talked about the fact that the home fans here really push her side to another level. anticipating Nürnberg demanding a lot of her charges tonight. So far, neither side really able to gain a foothold in proceeding. It's all been a bit scrappy. Carlsen was very pleased with the way her side held their own in Munich before the international break, at least for the first 45 minutes. Unfortunately, on the stroke of half-time, there was a late goal from Momoko Tanikawa that helped turn the tides back in Bayern's favour after a first half that was dominated by the knee injury suffered to Lena Oberdorf. A bitter return to the treatment table for one of the best midfielders in the business. Everyone wishing her a speedy recovery. Köln were never able to really recover from conceding on the stroke of half-time and then conceded 4 more after the break, but one of those games where the scoreline wasn't really reflective of the performance levels that Köln produced. They were committed, they were courageous, they deserved more from the game. But if they produce that level of performance again here tonight, then they will be firm favourites for victory. Thomas Orsendorp has talked about his side learning from the lessons of their stint in the top tier 2 seasons ago, which resulted in another immediate return to the second tier. He said the aim is between 18 and 21 points, and well, they're halfway towards their minimum target already with 9 picked up, 2 more than Köln have amassed so far through 7 matches. As a result, both teams in the bottom half of the table, but they've got some valuable breathing room between them and the bottom 2 of Essen and Karl Zeiss Jena. The 2 teams without a win to their name this season, and Köln and Nürnberg have at least twice emerged victorious. Laura Dornhauser is making a good run into the box to provide some support, but the cross never came from the top goal scorer, Sandra Maria Jessen, who with 4 goals to her name this season has already matched the output of top goal scorer Taylor Zieber in the entirety of the previous campaign. What a signing she has proven to be. And on the spin, looking dangerous. Laura Vogt loses out in the 50-50. And wins it back though. Recovered the situation well there, the Köln midfielder. A woman who embodies all the battling qualities that Köln fans like to see. Here's Laura Feiersinger. Looking for the piercing pass, Paulina Bremer. Can't find a teammate with the flick on. It comes back now to Anna Gerhardt. Vogt's pass behind Feiersinger, but Gerhardt picks up the pieces. Looks like we've got a change of flanks for Anna Gerhardt, normally at left back, today operating at right back with Wienckowska marauding down the left wing for Köln. Here is Anna Gerhardt. Bremer wants it on the overlap, and the ball should have gone round the corner. Feiersinger first to the loose ball, and now we're getting a first period of exerted pressure from either side. Köln trying to establish some more control on the game, and they're getting it as well. Gerhardt, space to work with. Laura Dornhauser, first time delivery, looking for the run at the back post of Wienckowska, who clatters into Ali Gambone. She has made a very promising impact, Britta Carlson, since taking the Köln reins in rather testing circumstances towards the back end of last season. She said that her side put the pieces in place for more in the current campaign, but they did some remarkable work on the transfer market as well, bringing in some real experience with the likes of Marina Hegering, Sandra Maria Jessen, the top goal scorer, and of course Pauline Bremer making her first start for the club tonight since signing from Brighton. And the experience, the leadership qualities of those three players alone are going to serve Köln remarkably well this season, and have done so already. The big glaring issue for Köln continues to be the goalkeeping department. Whether it be injuries, whether it be individual errors, lapses of concentration, that is a problem they just cannot solve. It was a bit too much to expect the likes of Paula Hopper to really shoulder the responsibility. Aurora Mikkelsen came in halfway through last season, put in some very impressive performances upon joining the club. But right now, at the start of the current campaign, out injured. And Lisa Schmitz was brought in, the experienced goalkeeper from Wolfsburg, a Köln native. Unfortunately, her performances produced some highlight moments. They also produced some nightmare moments, some very costly mistakes in the opening few games of the season, and now Schmitz herself has been sidelined through injury, and as a result, young 20-year-old Swiss goalkeeper Irina Fuchs is now tasked with protecting the Köln goal. It's Erster Fußballclub Köln against Erster Fußballclub Nürnberg. A special honour afforded to the teams that were the first to be formed in their respective cities. And when you talk about traditional heavyweights and history in German football, well, Köln and Nürnberg have a whole ton of it in the men's game, and now the ever-developing women's game as well. Köln a touch more established in the top tier than Nürnberg are, this being just their third Frauen Bundesliga season. The last two both ended in immediate relegation. The first being in the 1999-2000 season, and then again more recently in the 23-24 campaign. Their sporting director Osman Jankayo has talked about a clear path being formed over the last few years. He believes that his club stands for creative scouting and the development of women's football. Jessen tried to make something of the loose ball, but couldn't really. Köln have Nürnberg pinned inside their own half at present. Feiersinger. Feiersinger, a bit of a ball magnet in midfield right now. The Austrian who has hung up her international boots, calling time on an international career. Produced over 100 appearances for her country. 124 at last count, if not mistaken. Teasing delivery, and Jessen applies the pressure to force the corner. Laura Vogt to whip this one in. Low delivery that doesn't beat the first woman, though she will get it back, Vogt. Change of angle. Better as well, Hegering's underneath it, so too is Bremer. Gerhardt does well to win the aerial battle, so too Hegering. And, well, that will count as a shot on goal by Jessen. Very easy, though, for Larissa Rusek to cope with, and now a bit of concern for Marina Hegering after a heavy fall. Well, if you know anything about Marina Hegering's career, you'll know that it will take a lot more than that to force her off a football pitch. A real enrichment for the Köln backline, signed from Wolfsburg in the summer. She talks about football being a paid hobby. Says it's still fun even to this day, and why wouldn't it be? Given the career she's had, and the career she might still have after her playing days. She is doing her coaching badges, and you can already see the element of her being the head coach on the pitch for this Köln side. Unless we forget, she's got some pretty good goal-scoring abilities as well, whether that be with her feet from range or her head in the air. And that moment alone really exemplifies exactly what she brings to the table, that calm, composed experience that Köln were so bereft of last season. It was Laura Feiersinger who provided it in the previous campaign, but no one else really stepped up to the mark. But you look at Hegering, you look at Jessen, they already have made an immediate impact, which isn't easy to do in new surroundings at a new club. And now they'll be hoping, Köln, that Pauline Bremer can do the same. The woman who won 2 Women's Champions League titles, along with 2 leagues and 2 cups during her time with Olympique Lyon. 1 cup win with Manchester City. And then a league and cup double with Wolfsburg, followed by another cup win with the She-Wolves. A glittering career, an enviable medal collection. And there was a wonderful quote from Pauline Bremer on the club website talking about the fact that Köln do not need to hide against any opponent. And I think that was the big proving point for them against Bayern. Yes, it was a 5-1 defeat, heavy in the end, and whether it was truly reflective of the performance or not doesn't really matter. But they didn't shy away from the challenge at hand. They did seize their moments to show their quality. And they are not the first side whose defensive resiliency has been broken down by the star-studded ensemble that Bayern München have at their disposal. Tonight is a much, and I hold the thought because a shot from range, but seen all the way by Rusek. They've struggled to break them down from open play. I think it's fair to say they'll have to do a lot more to truly trouble the young Austrian goalkeeper for Nürnberg. Larissa Rusek, who got her first call-up to the national team in the international break. Manuela Zinsberger, the nasty knee injury suffered by the Austrian number 1, has opened the door of opportunity for many another. Rusek got an invite. The national team coaching staff wanting to maybe just take a look at the 20-year-old who has been acquitting herself well between the sticks for Nuremberg, was named the September Player of the Month. Still searching for a first clean sheet since signing from Neulengbach. The Austrian outfit. First chance for Nuremberg to really get the ball in the Köln box, but that's a poor cross in the end, and Bremer follows it up with a poor pass on the counter. A foul on Olivia Vosch. On to international duty with Poland during the break. Scored an own goal before it. Fortunately for her, it wasn't a costly one in that 3-2 win against Freiburg. Wasn't the only own goal of the game. Merit Felder got one as well. That restored Nürnberg's 2-goal lead on that occasion after earlier efforts from Luisa Gutenberger and Aneta Polashkova. There is the first shot that Irina Fuchs saw sail wide of her post. Not sure that was quite the intention for the free kick execution as Gambone rushed into the effort that was always slicing wide. But one shot apiece for two relegation threatened sides. A rhythm that maybe both teams had before the international break, not quite there in the opening 20 minutes. Well won by Zara Agrec. Oh, that's a teasing delivery though, and Anastasia Line was on the move, ready to pounce, but Irina Fuchs did well to read the danger and come off her line. Luisa Gutenberger, the captain, with the ball into the box there. Lechina loses out, and Köln quickly wrestle possession back away from Nuremberg, and they're not giving the visitors much of it. Gerhardt, nice positive touch and keeps going now. Unfortunately, her passes didn't quite find their mark. Feisinger might win it back well here though for Köln. Needs support now and gets it from Laura Vogt. All got a bit congested in those central areas, and as a result, Agrec now drives forward. A touch on. Oh, and it breaks here for Köln. Only momentarily though, as Polashkova chips in on the defensive side of things. That's a nice ball. And now over the top for Bremer. Lovely touch, Paulina Bremer! debut in the starting lineup for Köln from Pauline Bremer. What a way to open her account at the Franz-Kremer Stadion. The first touch, absolutely delightful. And the dink finish wasn't bad either. That's what Köln signed Pauline Bremer for. Moments of quality like that. Deadlock broken in the Cathedral City.
In der 23. Spielminute Tor für unseren ersten Fußballclub. Torschützin, Spielerin mit der Nummer 11, Pauline Bremer. Neuer Spielstand 1.
She could not have written up a better story here tonight, Pauline Bremer. After injury curtailed her start to the season, she came off the bench against Bayern, and now in her first start as a Köln player, she gets her first goal. And a big moment in what was a cagey opening between these two sides. Took a while for the game to warm up, but since the quarter hour mark, a flurry of chances at either end, and we've got the opening goal. In terms of the touch and finish, first goal of Matchday 8 in the Frauen Bundesliga will likely go down as one of the best of the weekend. Nine goals already this season for Köln. And even though we are going to get an extra couple of match days in the current campaign due to the expansion to 14 teams this season, it is still worth noting that 8 games into this campaign, Köln are already halfway to matching their attacking output from the entirety of last season. They were one of the lowest scoring sides in the Frauen Bundesliga. In their 7th top tier season, it was the second time they'd scored less than 20 goals. Signs of improvement in that department, as well as defensively, where they're being tested now by Nastasia Line. Snapshot there from Licina. A response coming from the women in Burgundy. Foul given by Levke Scholz, our referee. A waste of a set-piece situation there for Nürnberg. And they won't want to prove that wasteful as this game goes on. And you go back 2 seasons, you take a look at Nürnberg's record, and it didn't make for pleasant viewing. 4 wins, 3 draws, 15 losses, just 16 goals scored and 61 conceded. But they've already got 10 goals to their name in the current campaign, 6 in the last 2 match days before the international break, with 3-2 wins against both Carl Jena and Freiburg. But right now we're not seeing a lot from Nastasia Line, and when she's playing well, Nürnberg tend to be playing well. When she's scoring goals and chipping in with assists, they tend to be successful. She's had a hand in 70% of the 10 goals scored, 3 netted herself and 4 assists provided. As Bremen now looks to turn provider, and Jessen was bundled over in the box in a clash with Beatrix Furders. Furders the only change in the Nürnberg starting lineup this evening. The woman on loan from Inter Milan. Dornhauser. Laura Dornhauser, lovely footwork. Now the low cross didn't find its mark, and well, the clearance didn't either. As a result, Köln still on the front foot here, trying to fashion another goal-scoring opportunity in the final third. Gerhardt taking the better safe than sorry approach there. Foul eventually given the way of the home side, who are deservedly in front by a goal to nil as we cross the half-hour mark here at the Franz Klemmer Stadion. The cauldron that is bubbling, and a night of toil and trouble. But the toil and the trouble right now, all in the Nürnberg camp. For Köln, more treat than trick so far. This is the 5th ever meeting between Nürnberg and Köln. The first encounter dates back to September 5th, 1999. A 4-0 win for Köln on that occasion. 2 seasons ago, there was a 3-1 win for Köln in Nürnberg, in the north of Bavaria. And there was a 4-3 win for Nürnberg here at the Franz Klemmer Stadion on a rain-soaked afternoon, an intense battle and a high-scoring affair. Wouldn't say no to another one of those tonight. And maybe now the awkward bounce for Nürnberg, and well, Hagering goes down. The offside flag goes up. That shoulder that she was holding earlier still bothering her clearly. She is someone that will play through the pain, but she does not look like she has the full mobility of that particular joint right now. But I reckon if you chopped off her hand, an arm, a leg, and Marina Hagering would still want to play football and would still want to battle and would still acquit herself well against some of the fiercest strikers in the Frauen Bundesliga. Now we see a look at the early statistics that does underline that Köln are deserving and good value for their lead. They've got a greater grip on the game, and yes, Nürnberg are winning more of the tackles, but Köln right now are rising above the challenge, and the challenge is from the visiting side. The high press being applied. So doesn't force the mistake out of Nürnberg, though, who break well and do get the foul there. Julia Pollack with a very positive run. Well, the Köln fans certainly one of the more passionate fan bases that you'll find in German football, in both the men's and the women's game. Can sometimes be the X factor for their side. Many an interview with players and staff you'll hear them talked about in glowing terms. Home form has been a bit of a mixed bag for Köln this season. Started with back-to-back losses against Leipzig and Wolfsburg. They did manage to turn things around. A 2-2 draw against their regional rivals Leverkusen. A 2-2 draw that could have been all 3 points, but for a rather rash decision made by the young goalkeeper Irina Fuchs that cost her side all 3 points on that occasion. Greta Carlsen feels that her side should be a few more points better off in the standings. They then followed up that 2-2 draw. Excuse me, I should not say followed up, because it was a 2-2 draw that came after the 2-1 win against Union Berlin, because of course the game against Leverkusen had to be postponed and replayed due to a failure of the floodlights here at the Franz-Kremer Stadion. Either way, a win and a draw from the last 2 home games, looking to maintain that unbeaten run here on home soil. Nice pass from Vogt to find the goal scorer Bremer. Gerhardt, final touch off her as she looked to keep the run going. A lot to like about this Köln performance so far. Engaging, ambitious. Not rushing into their moments, patiently waiting for them. Right now, one moment of individual quality, the difference. And it's the type of individual quality that Köln just didn't have last season. Don't get me wrong, their collective has certainly improved as well in the current campaign. But I don't think there would have been a Köln player that could have pulled off the Pauline Bremer goal we've seen tonight last season. Not the sharpest of back pass, but I tell you what a clearance from Irina Fuchs. And now the chance looms large for Köln to double their advantage. Oh, the shot stung the palms of Larissa Rusek, but nothing more. Felt like there was more on. Annalena Stolzer went it alone in the end. Not a bad effort, but she did have 3 women in white to her right. Now she combines with Wienckowska, and that's well done. Wienckowska will get there and win the corner. Oh, Levka Schultz has spotted something in the melee that she doesn't like. Having a word with Julia Polak there. Corner to the edge of the area. Oh, what a goal! From Martina Wienckowska! Köln double their advantage. And the goals just keep getting better at the Franz Kremer Stadion. And on Halloween night, Köln are giving Nuremberg an almighty scare. Well, if Paulina Bremer's goal was all about the class, the quality, the control, this is all about the technique of strike, pace and placement from Martina Wienckowska.
Erste Fußballclub. Torschützenspielerin mit der Nummer 26, Martina Wienckowska. Neuer Spielstand 2:0.
First goal of the season for Wienckowska, and what a way to get it. Well, in terms of which one is the pick of the goals, it really all comes down to your personal preference as a football fan. If you're a fan of long-range efforts and maybe a clip of the woodwork on its way through, then Wienckowska's goal will take the biscuit. But personally, I would just give the edge to the effort from Paulina Bremer. Either way, 2 top quality goals that we've been treated to, conjured up by Köln in the cauldron that is the Franz Kremer Stadion. On course to make it 2 wins and a draw in their last 3 home games, but now Feiersinger has lost out, and this is dangerous. Line wants it back, Line gets it back, and Line loses out against Marina Hegering. She went lunging in and is going to get a yellow card for taking Hegering out. Not an easy thing to do. It's one of those, there was never much point protesting to referees, even in years gone by. There is even less point if you are someone like Nastasia Line, who doesn't have the captain's armband. Because all you do by talking to the referee is run the risk of getting a booking. She just picked one up. She could have actually been sent off if Levka Schultz didn't take kindly to the sharing of opinions there. Either way, it has been a tough night for Nürnberg so far, and it doesn't look set to get any easier as we approach half-time. Hegering, as she so often does in a Frauen Bundesliga fixture, is going through the walls. But she battles on. The type of poise and perseverance that would serve her well in any line of work. Luckily, she gets to do loves. That's a nice flick on, and Annalena Stolzer again has space to work with down that left wing. Again, she's got three in the middle to aim for. This time she tries to produce the early cross. Yes, and liked it, even if it was cut out. Corner for their efforts, though. Corner sent into the mix this time. Wienckowska first at the loose ball. Now Stolzer into the night sky. It's going to drop awkwardly. Gambone doesn't deal with it. And Bremer at the second attempt can only hit the woodwork. First shot blocked by a human body. The second blocked by an inanimate object. A touch from a Nürnberg player in the mix, with 2 minutes of time added on at the end of this first 45. A chance at a third goal for Köln. Not the best corner, but Gerhardt will get another crack at it. Oh, it's a good one as well. They do have a third. And Köln are flying high on this Friday night. Zara Agretsch gets in on the goal-scoring act. Her first ever goal for the Cathedral City side, and it puts them in a commanding position in this early season six-pointer against newly promoted Nürnberg, who are being put firmly in their place here at the Franz Kremer Stadion. Magnificent header.
Spielzeit Tor für unseren ersten Fußballclub. Torschützenanspielerin mit der Nummer 4, Zara Agretsch. Neuer Spielstand 3:0.
Well, they only scored more than 2 goals in a single game once last season, Köln. And that was on the final day of the campaign, a 4-0 win against Turbine Potsdam, who were relegated with just 1 point to their name after 22 matches. 3-0 up at half-time is quite an impressive feat. And funnily enough, none of the goals have come courtesy of their top goal scorer, Sandra Martin, who's barely had a sniff at goal. Before tonight, she scored 50% of the 8 goals netted. Not the case anymore. Because tonight, 3 goals from 3 different goal scorers, all of different styles. But they have put Köln in a commanding position against newly promoted Nürnberg, back from the international break, the Cathedral City side are flying high and 3-0 up at half-time.
Ich bin nicht nur St. Martin, sondern auch Reitwehr, habe ganz viele Kinder aus dem Brewing, um die mit der Natur in Verbindung zu bringen. Und deshalb habe ich ein riesengroßes Herz für Kinder und für unsere St. Martin-Züge. Und deshalb komme ich sehr gerne hin, mit mehr Appetit dürfen. In der Martinszug bin ich auch mit Pferden. Und heute habe ich ein bisschen Angst, wenn Kunst rausmacht.
Ja, Kunstrasen wäre schön, dann könnten wir das machen. Auf dem echten Rasen machen wir das nicht mit dem Pferd. Aber den Rost bringst du dann mit am 7. Der Penzclub veranstaltet das Ganze. Schauen wir mal, wir gehen mal einen Meter vor wegen der Sprenkler. So. Der Penzclub veranstaltet das gemeinsam mit unserem Penz-Hauptpartner Mercedes. Aber wie läuft das denn am 7. dann am nächsten Freitag ist das?
Ja, der Treff ist um 16:45 Uhr an der Nordtribüne am Stadion und dann gehen wir rund ums Stadion, sogar, weil es ist mittlerweile groß, da waren es glaube ich 1500 Kinder. Und deshalb gehen wir dann bis zum Bahnhof und dann auf die Nordtribüne wieder. Und da ist das Feuer, und da gibt es für Kinder Reckmänner, da gibt für die Erwachsenen Glühwein, für die Kinder auch, für die Kinder Punsch. Von daher ist für jeden etwas da. Die Kinder, die keine Laterne haben, die kriegen auch einige Stifte. Die Bäckerei Herzlich macht das ja auch gerne.
Genau, die Wegmänner gibt es von Merzenich unter anderem. Wann geht der Spaß denn los?
Treffen ist um 16:45 Uhr und um 17:45 Uhr geht der Zug los.
Und dann reitest du ganz vorab auf hohem Ross.
Ich reite ganz vorne und die Kinder sind alle, dann macht jetzt wieder Milchstock zu dir zügeln.
Du hast gerade schon gesagt, wir haben über 1500 Pens in der Regel dabei. Letztes Jahr waren es sogar über 2000. Jetzt kann da ja grundsätzlich jeder mitmachen. Oder, frage ich mal, wie können die Kinder und die Eltern sich denn anmelden?
Nein, jeder kann kommen, jeder kann Verwandte mitbringen, andere Kinder, Freunde, jeder kann kommen und vielleicht hat der eine oder andere Lust, auch einen FC-Trikot zu tragen.
Das wäre schön. Also ihr habt den Wunsch vom Helios in the Masses gehört. So nennt man den St. Martin hier in Köln. Und wir sehen dich dann am nächsten Freitag auf deinem Ross. Den Umhang hast du schon um. Kurze Anekdote, ich habe eben in der Ecke schon gesagt, also war schon ganz schön kalt hier. Und da hat er mir schon glatt den Mantel angeboten. Aber nur den halben darf ich nehmen. So, nächste Woche St. Martinszug am 7. November beim vom FC Penzclub. Hättest du das auch dabei? Ja, natürlich. So, dann sehen wir uns am St. Martinszug. Ich wünsche euch ganz viel Spaß und ich würde sagen, das Spiel kann genauso weitergehen wie gerade. Ja? Vielen Dank dir, Willi Wilden als unser St. Martin. Das ist dein Applaus. Ihr durftet wie immer für euren Song fürs Spiel abstimmen auf dem Instagram-Account vom Fanservice. Und ihr habt euch diesmal entschieden für BAP, meine absoluten Klassiker, ab und zu.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the Franz Kremmer Stadion on this Friday Halloween night in the Cathedral City. And if Nuremberg were the form team coming into this game, upon our return from the international break, there were 4 games unbeaten. They secured back-to-back Frauen Bundesliga wins for the first time in club history. when that form has been thrown out the window. Köln 2 points back on Nürnberg at the start of play, set to leapfrog them because they are 3-0 up as we are set to get the second half underway, and as a result 2 changes being made by Nürnberg. Clara Fröhlich and Jacqueline Baumgärtel are set to come off the bench, because truth be told, for Nürnberg it can't get much worse. And while you can tip your hat to Köln for the fact that all 3 goals they scored were of high quality in their own regard, defensively Nürnberg a letdown. Going forward they barely posed a threat. But what does the second half have in store? Well, 3 goals to the good. It is Köln who get us underway in this second half. An early season relegation 6-pointer going one way and one way only, after a first 45 minutes dominated by the home side in terms of possession, in terms of territory, and in terms of goals. All 3 courtesy of 3 different goal scorers, and none of them from top goal scorer Sandra Maria Jessen. The first was scored by Pauline Bremer in what is her first ever start for Köln. The second, Martina Wiankowska, and the third, shortly before half-time, headed home by Zara Agretsch, her first ever goal for Köln in what is her 31st appearance for the club. As a result, the hosts in a commanding position with a comfortable lead. Looking to push on from here for what would be their biggest win of the season and potentially the biggest loss of the campaign for Nürnberg. It would be a wonderful way to return from the international following that 5-1 defeat to Bayern München before it. James Thorogood, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company for the second period here at the Franz Kremer Stadion. Early cross in for Köln. Fröhlich heads clear. She was the only change in the starting lineup tonight, dropping to the bench to be replaced by Beatrix Födus. But now she's off the bench at the start of the second half. Two players making way. Aneta Polashkova and Selma Lechina. Both were on international duty with their respective international sides. Polashkova, a striker for Czechia. Selma Lechina, a midfield motor for Montenegro. Very calm play there from Zara Agretsch in a situation where others might have suffered a rush of blood to the head. Marina Hegering, described by her new head coach Britta Karlsson as a player that can inspire and give stability. She's done a bit of both so far tonight. It's Feiersinger. So far, Köln really picking up where they left off at the start of this second half. Firm foothold. Good presence in their opponent's half, and that's a teasing ball from Vogt. Gerhardt will get there. Anna Gerhardt. A lovely first touch. Second didn't quite work out for her, though Vogt has won it back well. Wants to throw in and gets it. And Nürnberg weren't just 4 games unbeaten in the Frauen Bundesliga for the first time in their club history. Also 4 games unbeaten on the road dating back to last season. 2 wins, 2 draws in their last 4. Marina Hagering, who certainly picked up a few bruises, I'm sure, in the first 45 minutes. A woman with the experience of playing for Duisburg, Leverkusen, Essen, Bayern, and of course, most recently Wolfsburg. Bit of a late bloomer in her professional career, Marina Hagering, but every year when you wonder whether it might be the one where she starts dropping off in performance levels, she just keeps hitting newer heights, and this is a lovely new challenge with Köln, and here's Pauline Bremer. Hagering and Bremer, former Germany international teammates. Her finish from the first half really was world class. Pauline Bremer. And a wonderful moment to get it here on home soil. Corner floated in. Hagering with the header, flicked on by a Gretsch, and wow, she can't double her tally for the evening. Either side of the half-time break. Chance was really on there for a fourth for Köln. Nastasia Line with a chance to stretch her legs for the first time tonight. Again, a woman in the right place at the right time to snuff out the danger, but it still looms large here for Der Club, as they're known. Bone, drop of the shoulder. That's a good delivery as well. Line is arriving. And fizz back in and turned behind by a Gretsch. The most positive piece of play we've seen from Nürnberg tonight, and that cross from Gambone was so close to being pinpoint. Maybe from the corner. Fröhlich. Fröhlich will get it back here. Deflection on that cross. Oh, and Volk will put it behind for another corner. Not that that's where she wanted to put it. Fröhlich, that's a better delivery. Had to be dealt with, and a Gretsch did well. Feiersinger closed down well in the end by Baumgärtel. And Britta Karlsson said that Nürnberg would demand a lot of her side, and they have. Not been as comfortable as the 3-0 scoreline suggests, but they are sitting pretty. The Cathedral City side, and a result tonight that would move them above Nürnberg in the standings. See them break double digits 8 match days into the season. And consider they only picked up 14 points in the entirety of the previous campaign. To break double digits at the end of October, very impressive feat, and shows the signs of progress under Britta Karlsson for Köln. It looks like they're going to stop the downward trend they've been on in recent years. Köln, look at their last 4 seasons, 22 points, then 19, then 18, and last season 14. It was their lowest ever points tally without being relegated. Of course, there was only one team that was demoted last season, that being Turbine Potsdam, and no one was getting close to them given the fact they only picked up 1 point in 22 matches. 1 point from a possible 66. I mean, it was absolutely awful form. And the good news is that with the expansion to 14 teams of the Frauen Bundesliga, this season already proving more competitive than last season was in certain areas. The relegation battle looms large. Bayern already had a bit of daylight at the top of the table, which is dangerous for their title challengers. They've had their moments of vulnerability as well. A bit of play there by Ali Gambone. Clifton, Virginia native. Questions asked there of Christoph Michels, the assistant on this near side. 10 minutes of the second half played, and Köln are operating as if they don't have to get out of third gear, and they don't. Nuremberg maybe trying to up the ante a little bit after the restart, but not having much success. But they will get a chance from this set-piece situation now. What can the centre-back, Olivia Vosch, conjure up here? Put it right into the mix, and it had to be handled. Hagering, not once, but twice with the clearance there. Oh, she just reads those danger situations so well, doesn't she, Marina Hagering? She's not the paciest or the most technically gifted centre-back, but that ability just to anticipate is what makes her such a quality centre-back. And perhaps one of the reasons that she was a late bloomer, because it does take time and experience to fashion those anticipation levels and that ability. Competing with Sandra Maria Jessen in the signing of the season stakes for Köln. Marina Hagering. Stolz, a pocket of space, and sent that one into the night sky and over the fence behind the goal. Can't really blame Köln for having the confidence to have goes at goal like that. Paulina Bremers, for me, is still the pick of the bunch, though Wiankowska's effort had the wow factor about it. Zara Gretsch's, a glancing header, was the only one that seemed relatively routine in the end of the three scored by the hosts. Lofted forward, and it's going to drop perhaps for Baumgartel. Unfortunately for her, Hagering and Gretsch were both wary of the danger, though they do concede the corner here. Ooh, hairy at the back. Marina Fuchs spilled. The whistle's gone. Annalena Stolzer Why have you done that, is the question. Or what did I do to deserve the whistle going against me? Free kick doesn't really come to much for the visitors. No sign of their goal-scoring exploits that produced 3 goals in both of their last 2 games before the international break. But now maybe Natasha Line with the header! Comfortable for Irina Fuchs. Would be her first clean sheet of her Köln career. If I'm not mistaken, it would be the first clean sheet of her professional career as well, having only ever made 1 appearance for her former club Basel. Didn't get a clean sheet in that one. It would be a testament to the defensive improvements that Köln have made as well. A night where they've shown off the steps and the progress made at both ends of the pitch. Vosch. Pass goes astray, straight to Gerhardt, who finds a nice outlet. Gutenberger goes into the book, rightly so. Bit of an unceremonious challenge there on Annalena Stolze. Of course, when it comes to tradition and history, it shows in the nicknames of these 2 clubs. Nürnberg are literally nicknamed the club, der Club. Meanwhile, Köln are nicknamed FC, to the German letters for FC, football club. When you are called the club and football club with your nickname, you know that you are one of the originals in the game. And the difficulty now with this 3-0 lead for Köln. Do they push themselves to try and get more goals? Or do they try and manage this game to a successful end with a clean sheet? A couple of changes made to maybe inject a bit more life in their performance, which has been solid but not sparkling in this second half. 2 Polish players enter the fray. Adriana Aczynska and Weronika Zawiszczowska. Aczynska's been on the books since 2021. Zawiszczowska joined in the summer from Bayern München, where she was a bit part player, but did have a few highlight moments. Hagering. Now Vogt. She's been very tidy in midfield tonight, Laura Vogt. A couple of appearances this season where she's looked a little shaky. Her passes have been inaccurate more often than accurate. But today, not only someone who's looked comfortable on the ball, but she's constantly offering an option. Leading by example in that midfield department. Now Gerhardt, it was a nice idea, but it was going to take a pretty impressive degree of execution to slot that ball through to Bremer. Bit of head tennis in midfield. It's Achinska who comes away with it. And you can tell there's a much clearer identity for this Köln side when you consider the fact that Achinska, Wiankowska come on, immediately settle into the game. They immediately know what's demanded of their roles. And Britta Karlsson has done a really good job since taking over at the back end of last season. Nürnberg, their biggest defeat of the season so far, a 4-1 loss to Werder Bremen. A return to losing ways after an impressive 4-game unbeaten streak that produced draws against Leipzig and Hoffenheim before the back-to-back wins against Karl Siena and Freiburg, which was a very, very impressive result. Freiburg, one of the high flyers at the start of this season, vying for position in the top 4, but they fell foul of Nürnberg at the Max-Morlock Stadion. Marina Hegering gets a booking here for taking out the legs of Baumgärtel. Not the most egregious booking of her career, but a booking all the same, and has left its mark on Jacqueline Baumgärtel. Signed in January of this year from Gütersloh. Got a bit of an interesting history where she had some injury problems due to an undiagnosed hyperthyroidism. A problem that has now since been solved, and it's made her life a lot easier, but she said she had to face some challenging times and almost wishes that they'd recognised the issue earlier, the doctors that she was consulting with. Nicknamed Baumi. We had a little flurry of chances at the start of the second half. Truth be told, they've really dried up since, though. Köln certainly don't need to force the issue in that regard. Nürnberg do, and they're trying to. Here's Baumgärtel, who's picked herself up. Unfortunately, can't play the pass through. Hegering with another solid header at the back that doesn't find purchase. And Line just overran that at the vital moment. Open the door for Zara Egrecht to stick a foot in and pick her pocket. Now just over 20 minutes of normal time remaining. A Friday night fright for Nürnberg, all delivered in the first half. 3 goals from 3 different goal scorers for Köln, who have not maintained momentum. They've managed this game and tried to boil it down to a less threatening situation as Zabistovska. Oh, Zabistovska! Lovely technique on the effort that certainly had Larissa Rusek worried. Now, did this ball stay in play? That's the question. Oh, I think it did. Ferdos, I don't think it got that situation right. Rusek now under a lot of pressure and bailed out by the referee's whistle as a result. Shunieva has scored 1 goal in her Bayern career, but it was an eye-catching one. A 91st minute equaliser in a 2-2 draw against Freiburg, which really spared Bayern's occasion. A lot of fouls just breaking up the rhythm of the game now, the latest committed by Achinska. And the thing is, while Köln have taken their foot off the pedal, Nürnberg haven't exactly seized the initiative. You're not really looking at what we've seen from them in the second half and thinking, oh yeah, they could push on and get a goal back and maybe make this game interesting. If anything, they almost seem a little bit resigned to their fate, which is fair enough at 3-0 down. A side that don't often score freely in matches. Quite a task to somehow come from 3 goals down. Now Wiankowska lifting one in. Now Gerhardt. Oh, and it breaks free, and Jessen was there. Crucially for Nürnberg, though, she was not uncontested. Kara Fröhlich able to momentarily at least deal with the danger, though corner still to deal with. Oh, it almost fell to the foot of Wiankowska.
Beide Mannschaften wechseln in der 74. Spielminute. C bedanken wir uns bei der Nummer 25, Laura Donhauser, und der 33, unserer Kapitänin Marina
Two changes for Köln. Laura Dornhauser and Marina Hegering coming off. Vanessa Leimenstoll and Emilia Bohnen coming off the bench.
Im Spiel für die beiden mit der Nummer 15 Amelie Bohnen und die Nummer 29 Vanessa Leimenstoll. Und auch Nürnberg hat gewechselt.
Ja,
vom Feld geht die Nummer 9.
Amelie Bohnen.
Spiel für sie mit der Nummer 18, Franziska May.
Just her 7th appearance of her Köln career, having joined from SC Sand at the start of last season. Had to be very patient in waiting for her opportunities. Talked about joining Köln being an indescribable feeling. Oh, and a bounce from Agrec. almost opened the door. Sanja Hormann, the Germany under-19 international. Excuse me, under-23 international. Almost seizing upon the opportunity. And with Marina Hagering just brought off for Köln, now Zara Agrec has taken a tumble. I'll look there at the match statistics. Just under quarter of an hour to play. And again, the numbers for Nürnberg didn't improve drastically after the break. And as a result, Köln might be on for their first clean sheet of the season, which would be, along with the 3 points, a nice way to return to the domestic action following the international break. And while during pre-season this would have been rightly billed as a relegation six-pointer, it had the hallmarks of it at times, the scrappy nature. But in the end, the story of this game really is Köln, the more established top-tier side, riding out the early storm and ultimately rising above the challenge posed by the newly promoted side from northern Bavaria. It was Thomas Orsendorp, the Nürnberg head coach, who said that Köln's league position was not reflective of their performance levels, and maybe his side have got the fair reflection of a scoreline tonight. Chinska picks off the cross. And Nürnberg just trying to chip away at least to maybe get an act of defiance here, and that was a good delivery, but there was no one there to meet it. And now it's the top goal scorer, Sandra Maria Jessen, on a bit of a solo mission. Took the ball all the way to the danger area, now needs support, and unfortunately a very heavy touch there from Martina Wiankowska lets her down. Huge result, you've got to think, for Britta Karlsson, because while Köln's season is certainly not going to be determined by games against Bayern München in Munich of all places, these are the games where they would have looked at the start of this season and said, these are the 3 points we have to put on the books. against Nuremberg, against Hamburg, against Karlsruhe Jena, arguably even against Union Berlin, maybe even SGS Essen, the way the season's panning out for the only all-women's team left in the Frauen Bundesliga, the last bastion of hope in that regard. They are having a terrible, terrible time of it. Rooted to the foot of the table. Here's the chance, Gutenberger! What a block at the vital moment there. Took all the pace off the shot and made Irina Fuchs's life a lot easier. Nice little bit of play from Gutenberger, but Agrech able to step in when she needed to. Couple of final changes in either dugout. Lydia Andrade comes on for Sandra Maria Jessen, who did not get her chance to add to the 4 goals scored so far. But again, Taylor Zimmer, she was the top goal scorer for Köln last season, 4 goals all season, and Sandra Maria Jessen has achieved that feat and matched that output in the space of 8 games. Technically, she did it in 7. But tonight she wasn't needed. The beauty of Köln's situation. Jessen has certainly popped up with some big goals in big moments, but today, smooth cruising on a night with the fear factor on Halloween. Late chance for a cherry on top. Put back in the mix. Oh, good save in the end by Rusek. Well, that was certainly her best moment of the game. The whistle had gone anyway, suggesting that the offside flag would have denied Köln a 4th goal there, but lovely play by Zawistovska. Just to win the header. Get it in there, and Leimenstahl was ready and waiting. Tried to generate a lot of power on it. Tested Rusek, but I think it was actually a push that was penalised there from Zawistovska. As soft as that would have been. Doesn't get any easier for Köln. This is the start of 11 straight games of Frauen Bundesliga action in midweek. The Cathedral City side take on Eintracht Frankfurt. And they close out the Englische Woche, the English week, with a home game against Hoffenheim next weekend. After that, they are in action in the round of 16 against second-tier SC Sand. For Nuremberg, it really doesn't get any easier. Their next 3 home games, Bayern, Frankfurt and Wolfsburg. Yikes! Games in between it against Hamburg, not exactly straightforward, and then SGS Essen. They have to start picking and soon. They probably won't do it this weekend against Bayern. Here's Nastasha line. Oh, had to do it all alone, and in the end, the clearance that cannoned back off her was routinely dealt with by Fuchs. It's a German word for fox, in case you were wondering, but a fox in the box of a different variety. It was Irina Fuchs who talked about it simultaneously being a huge honour and a huge chance joining Köln. And that's a huge chance that's sent just over. Zawistovska. A little bit more wayward with her second effort than she was with her, which stung the palms of Larissa Rusek. But you've got to love the confidence she plays with. She's not your average female footballer. She does admit that she would have been a model or a makeup artist had she not taken up this profession. She's had a 2-year loan spell with Köln between 2021 and 2023. Now back on a permanent deal. Credit as well to the travelling fans who have been in good spirits and good voice despite this game really going against them. Clara Fröhlich now starts free kick. And the former Leverkusen defender. Conjure up here. It's a good delivery, flicked on and just wide. Beatrix Födus. They wanted a foul, didn't get it, but the advantage works in Köln's favour anyway. A fourth goal brewing here if they have the quality to produce it. Lepke Schultz gives a free kick right on the edge of the area. There was a bit of a nervous wait there, perhaps from a Nuremberg perspective. Well, that replay didn't exactly help the cause of working out what went on, but it looked like a tangle of the legs, a trip of the heels. And on the stroke of full time, Köln with a chance still to get a fourth. Martina Wiankowska already has one eye-catching effort. Can she produce another? It's into the wall. And dealt with by the Nürnberg backline. Andrade will give chase here.
Nachspielzeit wechselt Nürnberg noch einmal vom Feld, geht die Nummer 22 Julia Pollack rein, Spiel mit der Nummer 2 Clara Svensson-Senelius.
Svensson-Senelius on for Julia Pollack. The young 20-year-old Swede. A formality here at the end of a result that has been a formality ever since the half-time break. And on the one hand, from a neutral perspective, we'd have liked Köln to really push on and maybe get a goal or two more. On the other side, you have to say, for a team that will likely battle relegation or have a few relegation fears down the stretch, this was a really professional performance. They found the clinical touch. With the three-scored couple of moments of real individual quality from Pauline Bremer and Martina Wiankowska. A bit of a slip there, costing Zabistovska. Minute of time added on remaining. 3 goals for 3 precious points. For Britta Carlsen and co. on their return from the international break. Is there a fourth to really put the gloss on this game? Lydia Andrade. Lydia Andrade! Oh, it wasn't far away. Gotta love the effort there. But they have to settle for a cake without a cherry tonight, the home side. Andrade on the run again. Leimenstoll wants it in the middle, instead it's Bremer! She opened the scoring, but can't close it. But it's a return to winning ways for Erste FC Köln. The mission after the 5-1 loss to Bayern before the international break was mission make amends. And they haven't just made amends. Tonight they have sent a message, a signal of intent. This the performance of a side that will have nothing to do with the relegation battle. In what could have been seen as a relegation six-pointer, it ends Köln 3, Nürnberg 0. Now Britta Karlsson will be absolutely delighted with that performance from her side. It ticked so many of the boxes and really underlined the improvements that this team have made. Took charge. Because while a 5-1 loss to Munich or Bayern in Munich is possible, these games are their bread and butter. These are the ones that they have to win. Against the newly promoted Nürnberg side, they rose above the first half challenge. And on Halloween night, it was Köln who gave the visitors an almighty fright. It means they move above them in the standings as well. They were 2 points behind at the start of play. Now they move on to 10 points, breaking the double-digit mark at the end of October. Just 4 points shy of their points tally from the entirety of last season. Now just 7 goals shy of their attacking output from the entirety of last season. And for Thomas Orsendorp and co, an end to their club record unbeaten streak that ends at 4. Back-to-back wins cannot be turned to 3 straight here at the Franz Klemmer Stadion, because in the end a 3-0 win, 3 different goal scorers, delivers all 3 points for 1. FC Köln. Arlene Bremer, in her first start for the Cathedral City club, gets her first goal, and what a goal it was. For me, the pick of them, the Martina Wienkovska's effort that rattled the woodwork on its way in, was eye-catching as well. And then in the end, Zara Agrec with her first goal of the season to wrap up what was, in the end, a very comfortable victory for Britta Karlsson and co. Their 3rd of the season, and fully deserved. James Surrogate, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company. I'll leave you with the match statistics and the highlights that were all one-sided in favour of 1. FC Köln. 3-0, the final score. Thanks for joining.
Faste Lover, nie mehr Wunderlied. Last of the bed that is covered.